Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today, we have a lot to go over. I hope everybody's having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. Like I said, as we really look at this space, guys, there's a lot of things happening. And, it really just happened in like the last week. There's a big narrative shift around, legislation, regulations, things like that. We have Trump going full bullish on crypto. Now we have a full update on Mt. Gox. Like, things are going crazy around the space, and I want everyone to be prepared for what happens next, because although, yeah, we have been hearing about alt season, and it's like, all right, yeah, but when is it happening? Well, I do think that we have full-on confirmation of what happens next, and we're going to be talking about it. So, with that in mind, let's dive on in. So, the overall market. So, today, Bitcoin had a slight sell-off. It wasn't like anything too crazy. We went from about roughly like 70.5K, almost 70.6K, all the way back down to about roughly 67.5K. Now, we are having a little bit of a nice move to the upside here, but it's not us being out of the woods yet, because we could still see significant price action to the lower end of 60K, which we will talk about. But in this video, mainly what I want to talk about is altcoins as well, and what's about to happen with altcoins, because there is some major breakouts across the board. Even if we look at the top gainers and losers in the top 500, we could see some nice gains across the board when it comes to a lot of altcoins. Love to see TrueFi being a #1 mover on the list. Has been within the private Discord for a while, and even in the public Discord as well. So some other great projects as well within the top gainers list. So love to see it. Now, XRP, Stellar, HBAR, and even ICP, like these four projects, the reason why I picked them is because one, XRP and XLM basically have the same exact chart. And this is what the 1 year looks like. You can't afford to not be a part of this Discord. You need to join the free Discord down in the description below, as well as in the comments below right now, to get ahead of the rest of the market with 24/7, 365 access to information around crypto, including insights, trades, altcoin gems, you name it. You need to be a part of this Discord. So what are you waiting for? Click the link down in the description below, as well as in the comments below, to join today. So a lot of people are not excited about XRP or XLM, and it's because of the overall price action here. Like, nothing is happening. So we're just like, all right, well, when are we going to see a move? Because XRP on the 1 year is up about roughly like 12.38%. And I just showed you guys gains across the board of roughly like 10, 40, 30%, and that's in just the last 24 hours. So it's like, all right, well, come on, XRP, do something, right? XLM is up about roughly 23.5%, nothing too significant. HBAR is up about roughly 102% on the 1 year, and then also ICP is up about roughly 150.5%. But what I'm showing you here is that these are four major altcoins within the top 100 that haven't really moved at all in the 1 year time frame. But I do believe that they are about to wake up in a very large way due to alt season. And big shout out to Mikey Bull for this. We have bearish divergence and the cross have just happened on Bitcoin dominance. This indicates that alt's huge run is underway. Now, this is what the overall chart looks like. I will give you guys my thought process on this as well, because I do have a chart for Bitcoin dominance, and it is looking very, very good. But we have that bearish divergence the same exact way that we had it back in 2021, right before the big moves happened. Now, as we really look at this space, I put out two posts. There was this one from May 26th, and then this one just recently. Now, this one I said there is so much money to be made still this cycle. Within the next 2 months, you will see this entire space wake up significantly. I'm expecting the middle of June, beginning of July, when we start to see the real fireworks. Now, is this just me guessing? Is this me saying, oh yeah, like it might do good, and then I'm going to push it to August or something? No. Listen, I don't delete posts. I will admit when I'm wrong. When we're talking about moves happening around the space, I do believe that it's June, the middle of June into the beginning of July. And we're going to talk about why. But I said the honest truth is that no matter how ready you may think that you are, you aren't. What's about to happen is going to mess with your emotions significantly. You need to block them out now. The only goal you should have is make sure that you don't lose money. Take profits and ensure that you are getting paid for your time in this market. Let's win together this cycle. And also, the best way to do this is by being in the Discord. I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. I'm there 24/7, 365 basically, and I'm always providing insights around the space, even in the free Discord as well. But outside of this, I also said alt season starts mid-June, beginning of July. This is my prediction, and I personally see this market really heating up this summer. I'm still expecting a de-risk towards the end of this year, which I am going to be doing, as I'm anticipating a top in Q4 of this year or Q1 of 2025, the latest. Now, I know that you guys are probably going to say, come on, Nick, let's be real. Like, if Trump wins, it's going to go into a super cycle. He's going to be so bullish on crypto. He's going to do this. He's going to, and these are all narratives, right? These are all narratives that are spitting up that are already trapping a lot of people into bag holding. I'm not going to be bag holding going into 2025. I'm going to de-risk significantly, especially if the profits are there. If we see euphoria, I'm selling into the euphoria. That's the big thing. It's not some magical thing on a chart. No, it's sentiment. If I'm going on to X or any social media app and I'm seeing people posting their portfolio pictures and posting pictures of them going out and buying a brand new car and this and that, I'm 100% taking profits off the table and selling into that euphoria. The next bear market won't be the same as the previous ones with upcoming regulations, so I wouldn't want to be left bag holding after this cycle. Have a percentage that you allocate to specific holdings for moon bags depending on entries, but I'd definitely be cautious holding onto bags. Now, as we do look at this, right? Why do I think that we are about to heat up in a very large way? Well, here we have the Ethereum ETF approvals. This happened on May 23rd. This got updated 4 days ago. It is now roughly 5 days later. We're now 5 days into this. I also have this time frame down here of the 30-day time frame. And what is important about that 30-day time frame? We're going to talk about it on the daily, guys. This is where the resistance is on this chart, about roughly 4,070. If we go and look at the 3-day, we're getting close to the major resistance. Is about roughly 3,980. We actually just tapped it recently. And then also on the weekly, we are breaking over the weekly resistance, which is a very, very good sign. And this just goes back to, March. So we're trying to get over those March prices. Now, outside of this, what's up with the 10-day or the 30-day, right? Well, if we go back to Bitcoin, on the 10th of January is when we got the approval of the ETFs for Bitcoin. Now, like I said back there, it took us 30 days to break over the level that we were trading at on that day. We go back to Ethereum, we're already over that price, but we did not get a close over it yet. We need to get a close over $3,947. I would not be surprised if we came back down and retested a demand zone before we have that major takeoff. Now you might be questioning, Nick, what would that level look like? It would be roughly about $3,500 to possibly about roughly $3,600. Not too significant of a price action move, but it would look like something like this, range sideways and then get the big breakout. And that's what we were basically looking at. Now, what would invalidate a move to those lows? Well, it would essentially be a major breakout and a close over significant levels, aka that resistance zone on the weekly, which is at about roughly 3,980. But regardless, I'm very bullish on Ethereum. I just think that considering the stock RSI on the higher timeframes, like the 3-day or even on the weekly, the weekly is not too bad, actually. It's starting to heat up in a pretty large way. But on the 3-day specifically, we're already at this nice high up here where we reject it back here. We had a little bit of a run up and then we had that rejection. Now, I'm not expecting a massive drop like this. I'm just expecting a small pullback and then, much higher, which is why I'm saying like on the higher time frame, like the weekly, this looks solid because this looks like it's about to have a major breakout. But first, I would like to see a slight pullback just to kind of cool it off and then go higher, kind of grabbing some liquidity. But as we do look at Bitcoin, right, it took 30 days for it to go, to this level. I'm not expecting the same exact time frame, right? I'm really not. I'm expecting it to happen sooner rather than later. And the reason for that is because back here, we were already getting a major sell-off even without the ETFs. We were already expecting it. And then we were ready to go. But What about now, right? What about Bitcoin right now? What could be, right, a major thing to have us have a major sell-off similar to that time frame in the market? What would have Ethereum rejecting heavily on the daily, because the stock RSI is already at this major level up here? Also, RSI also at that major level. And when I say major level, it's mainly just overbought. What would be the major thing to reset this? Well, as we look at Bitcoin, we just had a almost perfect retest of the 20 daily EMA at about roughly $67,000. From here, the only other level is about roughly 65.4K. And this would be a pretty decent level for us to backtest, because not only is it support back in April, so ultimately what we would be looking at, and this is I'm actually going to slightly drop this down a little bit because this is where most of the demand is. So at about roughly 65K. So what would we be looking at if Bitcoin were to have this major sell-off? Well, it would be, a retest of this low, and don't focus on the time frames down here. I'm just kind of showing you guys a path on what would essentially happen in the, short term. So we would come back down to this level, range a little bit, and then get a nice retest of this level that we just recently rejected off of. Are we going to reject off of it again? Are we going to chop against it and then finally get the big breakout? That's what we would be expecting. And the reason why I say that is because look at the same exact price action that happened back in April into the middle almost of April, where we started to chop against that level that we just rejected off of, right? And then we had that massive sell-off. This is what we would be expecting this time around, essentially. Now, could we also go lower than 65K? 100%. In fact, as you guys do see, we already retested the 200 daily EMA, or sorry, the 100 daily EMA multiple times, which is this blue line down here. That would take us to about roughly 62.3K. But I'm not expecting us to go that low at all. And ultimately speaking, if we get a daily candle close over this 69.4K level, I'm not expecting us to go any lower. I think that would be invalidated and a move to the upside would happen. But why are we expecting lower? Well, one, stock RSI is trailing to the downside, and also RSI just lost its major moving average on the daily. Also on the 3-day, you could already start to see the stock RSI starting to lose momentum. We're watching this closely. We're waiting to see a major move printed on this chart. The reason why I do think that we could go a little bit lower in the short term is just because as we look at the overall market, there is signs of indicators weakening, which are crucial to focus on that could determine if the price of something like Bitcoin, for an example, would have a sell-off. And that's why we're waiting patiently. We're not impulsively selling. We're not panicking. No, we're just waiting for levels to be broken. And at this point, we need a daily candle close over 69.4K in order for us to invalidate lower price action. Now, outside of that, the total 3. So this is, I want to go to the 3-day on this. So this is what the total 3 looks like on the 3-day. I also have this on the weekly as well. If you guys wanted to look at the weekly, we would obviously have to change the upper trend line, but this is what it looks like on the 3-day. We are essentially at this top level, aka that trend line. We also just got a recent retest of $707 billion on the altcoin market. And the reason why I'm saying the middle of June, the beginning of July, is because this wedge, there has to be a decision made by the middle of June. So this is why we're focused on this. And it could take us to pretty much like the 17th of June on the 3-day. But a major decision will be made by the middle of June on this chart. We're probably going to chop a little bit. I already have an outline on what's going to happen, in my opinion, on the daily, which is us chopping a little bit, having a nice retest of those lows. Again, why I say like Bitcoin could very well chop down to this level. Ethereum could essentially chop a little bit more. It would make sense. And then we have that big breakout to the upside. Now, what is going to take us to the upside? Well, we'll talk about that here in a second as well. But first, let's talk about the Mt. Gox situation. So this was the thing that moved Bitcoin to those significant prices. this was nothing to worry about. There was a massive amount of Bitcoin. It was like 107,000 Bitcoin. And basically this was just around the repayment plans, which I figured you guys probably did want to know a little bit about what my thought process on this was. We reported on it a little bit. 42,000 Bitcoin was on the move when I posted this. But regardless, this is just around repayments. Now, what is going to push the prices of this market? What's going to allow us to pump heavily? Well, it's mainly the US Treasury. Remember this report that we talked about at the end of April on this channel? The US Treasury is about to take a step designed to make the bond market more resilient. The first Treasury buyback program in more than 20 years is expected to be launched soon. Yeah, this is very significant because guess what? We just bailed out Japan. We know that we did because the Fed told us that they did. And on top of that, we already know that liquidity is still drying up. So we have to print. And it's election year. We're still propping up the market. So we're printing money. On top of that, this buyback program is still a very large amount of money. And we know that this is beginning tomorrow. May 29th is the first buyback. It's set for May 29th. This is going to run into the July quarter. The quarterly refunding is set at $125 billion in May to July. So from the end of May 29th, to about roughly July, they are going to print a massive amount of $125 billion. This is liquidity, guys. The liquidity is already improving. The M2 money supply is coming back. We already know about this, right? It started to flip bullish again. And when I say bullish, I basically mean it started to flip net positive, which means that they are increasing the money supply. The M2, the printers are on. And this is not technically bullish in the economy, but it's bullish for risk on assets. But regardless, as we look at what's happening with the US Treasury, I do believe that this is about to really move these markets. But first, today is Tuesday. Markets didn't even open at the time that I am recording this. I'm going to try to get this up live as soon as I possibly can. But I would not be surprised if we were about to have a short-term sell-off, catch a lot of those longs really kind of off guard. I would not be longing Bitcoin at resistance first off, but I know that there's probably a lot of people that already longed Bitcoin here at 67K or possibly even 67.8K or possibly even 68.4K because they're expecting this to hold as support. But right now we're just chopping between support and resistance, waiting for a move. That move could very well be a daily candle close over 69.4K, which will set us up to target that 72K level once again. Or we are going to break to the lower level of 65K, and then we will have that big impulsive move to retest 72K and hopefully this time around break over it. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.